Bring us up. How you doing, Chris?
Yo, what's up?
Nothing much, nothing much. Let me see here. Sorry, guys. Let me get rid of this, remove this. Hope everyone is doing well today. We are at our sixth live stream, which is super, super exciting. Thank you all for joining. Just give me one moment. Got to put the logo on there. Boom. Now we're official. All right, everyone. Well, here we are. Um, Keep it brief. We've always do our intros, but just in case there is anyone new, my name is Vendo Condor, CEO of Product Pie Labs. Our company, Liquid Agent, is an AI agent to help facilitate the Web3 of financials. Currently, the tool itself, well, let me back up. Background in computer science, built the company here at the Atlanta Blockchain Center where Chris was a data engineer at MailChimp, yada, yada, yada. But I know you guys want to hear about what we have been cooking. So, what is Liquid Agent? We're going to be talking about business development. We're going to be talking about LVN. We're going to be talking about SoonPay. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. So, first things first, let's talk about business development. Now, I know a lot of people in the community have been asking, what's the taxes for? I know currently right now the market sentiment's not the best, but guys, we're still here. We're still cooking. We're not going anywhere. So just to let you know, of course we have 5% buy and sell tax. Again, you have to remember, guys, we're just not just um, a product or a DApp. We're a company. We're a company, and we have real life things to pay for, whether that's travel, infrastructure, etc. So, where exactly are the taxes going from, and what are the allocations looking like? And correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. So, 1.25% is the liquid growth to deepen the LP, buy, and strategic burns to promote token growth. The other 1.5% is going through the validator extensions, right? The funds, the LVN, the Liquid Validator Network, which we're going to be talking more on later today, for those who in the beta have been using it, to operate more validators, which equals more yield. 1% goes to operations and marketing, which covers, DevOps, infrastructure, growth campaigns, and then last but not least, 1.25% of that will go to the team and treasury, support development, partnerships, and etc. Now, partnerships. Guys, we just got an amazing partnerships. Don't want to announce who it is just yet. I know currently the market sentiment's kind of low, but we just had a major partnership that, again, the partnerships that Chris and I like to get is not just partnerships that you can just, anyone can willingly get. You have to show that you've been building for a long time, show product market fit, and this partnership is amazing. A shout out to Standard Crypto over there, one of our partnership, our Coinbase's initiative to educate lawmakers and legislators for Chris and I go to Washington, D.C. to educate these people. Also, now that we're here, check this out, guys. So this came into the mail. As you can see, Chris has a picture with Senator John Ossoff, signed by him with Ant Mathis, our Georgia president. So yeah, we're here live at the Atlanta Blockchain Center. But yeah, the business development, what's been going on? So if you guys haven't been following along, Liquid Agent has come a long way. The product itself has, was initially an internal tool for Chris and I for a liquid staking protocol. Went on stage in Vegas back in March, got great feedback, and it became his own product. And then during the month of June, July was Atlanta Tech Week. Atlanta was actually ranked the #1 smart AI city, and that's when we launched a token. And here we are today. Man, there's a lot to unpack here. So the business development. So just got finished from an in-person meeting down the street not too long ago. Sorry for everything was not been organized and as squeaky clean as previously, but it is what it is. Have great news. Our partner SoonPay will officially be launching here by the end of the month, which is huge. So that's that. For those who don't know what SoonPay is, it is a remittance app similar to like a Cash App or a Venmo where people can send and receive money. And for those apps, now they can actually have crypto. And when you click that crypto button, that's going to be Liquid Agent. So that's going to be out soon. We're going to be doing our pilot program out in Kampala, Uganda. Chris and I will actually be going to Uganda by the end of the month, November 28th, and coming back to the States around this early December, 6th, 7th. It just really all depends on what are we going to be doing out there. Again, with our company, we're going to be setting up physical validators there because it's all about ownership. We're going to be educating people there. We did announce it, so we're going to be going to Makerere University, one of the top universities in Uganda, as well as the NSSF, the National Social Security Fund of Uganda, and a bunch of other stuff where it's going to be televised on the news, on celebrities. It's going to be a big, amazing launch that we're going to have. And this is just to show product market fit for everything Chris and I have been building, likewise with our partner. Been building out StreamPay for almost 6 years now. Our company is almost 3 years old. And it just goes to show, like, no matter the market sentiment, whether it's a bear market or bull market, you're always going to have to keep building. And that's what Chris and I do. We just always build. So we're super excited to go to Africa. And again, guys, this is just a pilot. Once we show product market fit of this very unique remittance app, because again, it's not just sending or saving money, it's saving with a purpose. We're backed by the NSSF and Prudential and all these other stuff that we've talked about in the tactical roadmap, to where whenever you're sending or receiving money, you're actually going to get a savings account through healthcare. You're going to be utilizing an LVN to where you can get yield on your stable coins. Again, like with the current market sentiment, crypto is very volatile, but when it comes to stable coins, it's 1-to-1 to the US dollar. Yes, the APY may not be as mouth-watering, but it's consistent. And then likewise, when it comes to LVN, where the yield is coming from. It's coming from the validators. Any other developments that I missed, Chris? So talk about the partnership, not going to announce that just yet. Talk about StreamPay launch. Talk about us going to Uganda.
I think, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I guess I can introduce myself. So I'm Christopher Powell, or Chris Powell. I'm the CTO of Project Pi Labs and Liquid Agent. And yeah, I don't think you missed anything. I think the one thing that you had mentioned was the tax, as far as that, the 5%. That's one of the things that we wanted to focus on again is, transparency and just being fully transparent, because knowing that at the end of the day, this is, like Van said, a company, so that's the reason why Van gave out the numbers, or the specific numbers as to essentially where the tax is going to be going. We had a long conversation about that, because we know there were a lot of questions, especially within like the last few weeks, of individuals in our Telegram that wanted to get the details as to where it was going. And I do, as a CTO, I mostly focus on the tech, but it's also, again, it's our company. So it's like, this was something that I mentioned with Van. It's like, let's sit down and discuss and figure out how can we actually, be more transparent with the numbers, and actually be able to, let people know what's going on. So then we also had discussion. I don't think you mentioned this, but as our company grow and our validator system grow, LVN grow, the tax will get reduced to 0.0. We do want to cater to, the people in Liquid, and especially in our Telegram, and potentially the future partners that we actually do have. Right now, it's just we're in a growth stage. People tend to forget that we are, even though we're a company, we are actually a startup. And so, with that being said, we're still actively in our growth stage to build out as much as possible, whether it's the LVN system or liquid lending or scheduled sending, the marketing and so forth. You want to add anything else to that?
Yeah, no, I think you were very specific on those specific things. Again, guys, people, the Liquid community, and just overall in general, Project Pi Labs infrastructure company, just want to say thank you for the support. Again, as you see, Chris and I are still building. When we first started the companies of the bear market, right now in this very interesting market, people don't know if it's a bull or bear, but the market is irrelevant when it comes to Chris and I and our company. We're always going to be building. We're always going to be providing solutions, and we're always going to be making sure that, one, we take things that are very complex and simplify that through our app, our documentations, and our videos. Again, when we first came to the Atlanta Blockchain Center, no one knew what a validator was. But once we actually built out the actual validator, which, I can show you guys since I'm at the center, they were like, oh, it's just a computer. Yes, guys, it is just a computer. So right here, you can see one of our validators. This is a Raspberry Pi, showing the price of Bitcoin. And then here's our cluster. right here. It's currently not on right now. It's kind of loud for the fan, but again, a validator is just a computer. Well, a node is just a computer. Validators are just a specific type of node to help validate transactions in a blockchain and secure it. You have all different types of validators that do certain things. But no, I think you basically said everything in terms of that for the business development. We'll have the alpha overview or debrief. And then, it's super exciting. It's Q4. We've hit all our marks. I think by the end of the year, which would be next year, which time flies, we would have hit everything that we said we're going to do on our technical roadmap, which is very exciting. So, but yeah, I think now we can go over LVN. I know a lot of people have been very hyped about that, but that is the business development update for you guys.
Yeah. So with LVN, my goal is to actually have it out by Friday. So that's going to be very exciting. Been staying up all night and day for it, but it's in beta right now. There's been 3 people that's actually been able to join in on the cycles. I was able to start it up for just a 1-day cycle, and people were able to earn a little bit of USDC. One thing that I added into the actual beta is some the logs, so people can actually see, in which I could share my screen real quick.
Yes.
Let me see if I actually have the logs in here real quick so people can actually see. Yeah, so let me share my screen.
Share your screen. I may have to change the okay, hold on, I see it. All right, go ahead and I'm looking at it now. Go ahead and share it real quick. Okay,
can you see this?
Yeah, there we go. Cool.
Okay, and so this is this is in the beta right now. You have the LVN stats. So far, there's about 1.6 million liquid that's staked. The current cycle that we're about to actually be in is 12. There's 2 stakers. At one point, there were 3. And what I mentioned in the agent logs is essentially the agent is taking the yield from different blockchains, and it's converting all of that yield, and it's processing it all into USDC. And then after that, it uses Circle's CCTP technology, which is the cross-chain transfer protocol, and it converts it from one chain to USDC on Base, because Liquid Agent is mostly on Base. And so the agent logs essentially will allow a user to actually see what process is happening, and where things are, what is essentially happening in the background, in a very simplified format, so that people can actually see that the USDC is ready for distribution and so forth. So I just added that. A few things that I'm going to stop sharing the screen. But a few things that I'm going to end up doing is, and I just made the last final decision on this is, one, ultimately, the LVN system in itself is actually going to start off with 100,000 liquid. What we're going to do is we're going to make it to 100,000 liquid, and then we'll taper off as the validator system grows. So as the total USD or USDC rewards pool grow, there will be basically that number will reduce. So let's say every 14 days, which is going to be the cycle, every 14 days, let's say there's $1,000 in the total rewards pool. That number from 100,000 liquid may end up going down to 50,000 liquid, and then so forth. So we're going to, of course, monitor the actual growth of the total rewards pool. Now, the people that are in the beta right now, I've grandfathered you in as far as being able to use the 50,000 threshold. as a, of course, a thank you to actually, hit me up and wanting to try out the system. And also, for the 1 day cycles, I was able to put in a decent amount of yield from our existing validators, and they were able to earn yield for the 1 day cycles. So that's the first thing. And then also, what I'm going to end up doing just for maybe the first few cycles, and I'm still thinking about this, probably have to have a discussion with Van, but this is one of my ideas, is because I know I don't want everyone to just be jumping into LVN so quickly and abruptly. I think what I'm going to do is make it to where it's in batches. So I may start off with the first batch being about 20 to 25 participants, and then from there scale and ramp up from there. Now, if you have a liquid license, then you bypass the batch. You're free to join whenever you want. And so that's just another added perk to that liquid license, because at the end of the day, if you're buying this license, then you should have, of course, as many perks as possible, just for, helping to contribute to the overall liquid validator network. Let me see what else I have on my iPad. If you notice, I'm outside, so I have wrote down a lot of different things.
We didn't notice you were outside, Chris.
Okay,
I thought it was a virtual background.
Yeah, and then the last thing is also, as far as the overall growth or whatnot, I decided that I'm going to, for the main application, it's going to, instead of being for the infrastructure fee, it's going to be, instead of 25 to 10 for the reentry, it's going to be 50 and 10 for the so 50 for the first time payment, and then $10 for the reentry. Reentry, again, is where if you unstake and then you're not staking for at least one full cycle or 14 days, then you do have to pay a reentry fee. But other than that, that's going to be LVN to start. Again, LVN, if for those that don't know, is essentially a validator index. What I'm doing, or what Liquid Agent is doing, is taking yield that's generated from different blockchains and is combining that yield and converting it into USDC. It'll be converted into USDC on Base using Circle's CCTP. And reason why I use multiple blockchains is, time and time again, you see different companies, they'll use one chain to be supported, but what if that one chain goes down? What if there are some issues with that one chain? What if there are slashing events or any opportunities of the chain going down, meaning the validator rewards would not come in a timely manner? So it's better to alleviate risk by having multiple chains connected to the system. And so by doing that, you do alleviate some of the risk. But then the next thing is, well, why convert the yield into stables? Well, you have to think that in this day and age, safety is a concern, and people don't really want to get into not stable coins, but more volatile yield. So it's better to just convert everything once the yield is in the system. And then once it's distributed amongst the users or participants, then you can only then let the users decide if they want to actually go back into the the assets, the more volatile assets. But by doing this, essentially you create, and I jokingly say this all the time, it's Liquid Validator Network, but it could also be Liquid Validator Index, because essentially Liquid's as a token, its main utility would be an index, so individuals can stake Liquid plus the infrastructure fee, of course, and then from there they have access to earn USDC instantly. Um, for the first cycle, that's going to start on Friday, it'll be 7 days. So that 7 days is just merely just going to make sure that we, take care of any like bugs or anything that does happen along the way. And then after we have everything settled within those 7 days, then the cycles would go every 2 weeks. Again, we mentioned the overall tax component of the liquid token right now is being the 5.5. So it's very volume based. So of course that plays into effect. One of the important things that Van had mentioned as far as the actual tax, the actual one of the percentages was the actual validator expansion. So 1.5% of the tax in itself is going to fund the LVN operations. As you can see, I'm looking at my iPad because don't have the percentages all memorized, but essentially, 1.5% of the tax is going to go into funding the overall growth and expansion of the LVN system. How I envision this is, I want this to be a system where people are able to simply take an asset such as liquid and then just being able to, earn yield. This could be a nice hedge, for earning yield versus the traditional way of, having to go and get a computer or infrastructure and then having to get, a certain collateral, let's say like 2,000 AVAX, which that's needed to make the validator, or like 50,000 Flare is needed to make a validator on Flare's blockchain. You're simply just grabbing liquid and then you're earning USDC, which is pretty safe and secure. So that's essentially LVN. Like I said, the next cycle on Friday.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that's all we have for you guys. I know typically we like to have these calls for an hour, but we got to cook. This Friday, we have our all hands meeting with our partners. So the full Liquid Agent team and the full SoonPay team. We have all hands on deck because, again, we only have 3 weeks, Chris? 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks until we are out of here. So Thanksgiving happens, following day, boom, we are on the plane going to Africa. So
yeah, I have to get myself together.
There's
There's a lot of going on. I do want to answer a few questions in the community because I know that someone asked a question. I know Mill asked a question. So he said, "Holy shit, LVN by Friday. How much can 100 liquid make every 14 days? Thanks." So just kind of have to do some more math, but let's just say within a 2 week span, let's say there is about $300 in yield that's generated. That, depending on like if it's, let's say, the first 20 or 25 people for the first batch, just to monitor everything, that can end up being, just some rough math, trying to do something in my head. I think that's between like 18 to about 25% APR. So, but that, again, you have to consider that that's just the small batch of 20 to 25 people. We want to, of course, make this system, like, ideally, like my vision is I want to see this grow out to be to where if this thing can sustain 20 to 25% APR for 500 people, 1,000 people, like I want this to be a massive system where people are able to come to our platform safely. Mind you, again, at the end of the day, Liquid Agent is meant to be a hedge against the traditional manner of how we interact with crypto and blockchain. If you all notice, we have simply simplified a lot of different things. Liquid lending, for example, when you use liquid lending, you don't have to pay gas. Liquid Agent covers you on gas. We have that sorted for you. When you send crypto to with USDC to other people with scheduled sending, you can not only schedule your USDC, and transfers to different places. Like, let's say you had your mom's wallet, you can simply type in you can either type in your mom's wallet address, or you could just save your mom's wallet address in the contacts, and then just look for mom in the contacts, and then you could send it. I believe it's a minimum 1 minute up to 7 days. So that's already in Liquid Agent right now. So scheduled sending is there, and you also don't have to pay gas with scheduled sending. That's one of the things that we essentially are building. We're looking at the problems, the pain points that people are having when it comes to blockchain, specifically in DeFi. And we've tied in the Liquid token into these different elements that makes it much easier for individuals to do things. There have been a few people that have already tried it in the main app as well as in the beta, that they absolutely are loving how the system works. It's just right now, of course, we're in the scaling phase. Realistically, like, we talk about the things that we're doing, but I'm also a realist, and again, I'm all about transparency. Definitely want to ensure that the individuals that they're seeing what we're doing. We're still here. We're still active. Like Van said, we built our company, our startup, in a bear market, and so the things that have been going on, and that doesn't scare us. We're still going to be here and working. That's been Van and I, since day one. And so with that, it's like, ultimately, we're here to cook, we're here to build, and I'm excited, regardless of the market sentiment, regardless of what's going on. I'm excited because at the end of the day, you have to weather the storm, whether it's rain, sleet, snow, thunder, tornadoes, hurricanes. The list goes on. Fun fact, before all of this, I used to want to be a meteorologist. So crazy how all that happened. But regardless, yeah, man, I'm super excited. I could care less as to what is happening and going on. Ready to cook. Let's go,
Yeah, let's cook. Yeah, guys. So thank you for that, Chris. As you guys can see, I know, to answer some other questions, some people were scared, like, oh, they're not going to work anymore. No, guys, this is what we do. We're here to work. And again, the problems that we're solving, even when we first started our company, people were asking, why are you going against the big guys like AWS, GCP, all that? Well, look what's happening. I think our first slide we had is over 65% of all Ethereum validators on AWS. What just happened a week and a half ago? Things blowing up on AWS, and it's like, guys, but 2 years in, people didn't see it. We saw it. We had people who supported us here at the Atlanta Blockchain Center. Shout out Bar Chef. It's not sexy. It's very boring, but the metaphor I always use: would you rather work outside in the heat or work inside in a nice office with AC? 9 times out of 10 people pick the AC. You know what the AC is? AC are all these different things. Outside in the heat are the construction workers, the infrastructure, the validators. Without the infrastructure, without these validators, there is no your favorite chain, your favorite coin, because it runs on infrastructure, it runs on validators. And if you have all these validators that are centralized, and when I look at the word centralized, it could be 2 things: either a failure point with no redundancy with all the servers in one room, or the company owns everything, even if it's in different locations. You need to have redundancies, not just in different locations, but different companies, different individuals, different things. So that's what I see when I talk about decentralization. Now, to wrap everything up, guys, and again, I know we normally have this for an hour, but thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for hopping on this call. Updates for you guys: we have our all hands on deck meeting this Friday, 10 a.m. EST, just to get everyone on the same page. I will be, being transparent. Everyone will just be talk. So everyone has their own delegated role. Certain people be talking about exactly where they're at, whether that's from the marketing, the graphics, the education, the infrastructure, the app, the when it comes to celebrity, like there's a lot of moving stuff happening, guys. And I know people always like, they meme like, oh, NDA. Yes, guys, NDA. This is we're a legitimate company, we're business. We can't just start saying stuff without it being publicized. And it will all be public. You'll be able to see everything, especially when they launch it. But I will be showing the curriculum that Chris and I created for the blockchain education. And then likewise, we're going to be talking about the infrastructure side of how we're going to be setting everything up there in Kampala. And then after that, I want to say I got to talk with France, but I don't know if everyone's going to be flying in or not the following week. But regardless, we're all going to be in person there. And it's going to be super exciting. And I'm super excited for the launch because, again, when it comes to this launch, guys, as not only our company matures, especially with the partners we have, and I'm super excited to announce the partnership that we got because it's huge. Even in today's market, we got that partnership.
We got to remind you last week when everything was happening in our Telegram.
Exactly. That just goes to show we have a great product. We're still here, and we're solving something very big that needs to be solved. As our company matures and when the app is live, because it's a hybrid of TradFi, traditional finance, and DeFi, decentralized finance. But the twist is when you look at these other remittance companies, yes, they do both, but they're just extracting. There's no way to really do the type of things that the app is going to do. But as time progresses and we are onboarding people who are not in crypto, which means new liquidity, which means new eyes, onto SoonPay, which is going to go over to Liquid Agent. The important thing is education, right? We want to educate the new users about self-custodial, infrastructure, all these things, and give them the right messaging that's needed in crypto. Because when we were in New Orleans at the UNA conference, the Uganda National Association conference, at the technology forum, when we raised our hand, we asked about blockchain to the government official. They kind of breezed over it, and they were so hyped about AI and infrastructure. And then one guy said, oh, it's going to take us 20 to 30 years to monetize. I looked at Chris, I'm like, guys, you can monetize this second.
Yeah, I'm like, we're monetizing right now. What are you talking about?
Exactly. So you can do a hybrid approach. Yes, you want to get the data centers and do AI, but you can half of that, or not even half, 25%, 10%, doesn't matter. A small portion or subset of that could be validators, right? Because we want to educate, not just consumption, meaning you're just buying crypto and holding and selling it. No, you need to be a producer, right? Being a producer, running validators, running your own validators in their own country so you can see it. So when we go out there in the lab and showing it in the different banks and all this other stuff, it's going to be a beautiful thing. And then once we have that pilot program very successful, it's going to go to many other places. People are going to be utilizing the app. You have that flywheel effect. And then, and this is just me being a visionary, I don't know how long it's going to be, 3, 5, 10 years from now. Whenever the bear market is truly here, that's how we're going to be able to sustain everything, because now we're going to have the infrastructure that's buying and burning. We have onboarding the people doing, the liquid lending, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. But again, guys, great things take time, and we're still here. We're only 4 months in, specifically into this liquid agent, out for you guys. Utilize the token as your utility to stake it to get yield through validating. Most people who are in crypto, they don't know where the hell the yield is coming from. Well, you know where the yield is coming from with us. It's coming from validators, where the layer 1 chain is inflating the token to you, backed in USDC on non-volatile asset that then you can stake through liquid lending to get more yield. It's a win-win. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think Chris even said this, through the liquid validator network. And he did say before, in the past, not only do you bypass that, you're getting a 2x multiplier, bruh. Come on now. But anyways, any final words, Chris?
I mean, I think you covered it. I mean, realistically, like I said, because I do want to, maybe I might be overstepping or saying like too much, but I know last week was just like, a hamper on like a lot of people's, I guess, spirit or whatnot when it comes to the token. Van and I, and we understand this. I had to understand this too. I know Liquid in itself is its own product, the token that is. And that's the reason why I'm so adamant on trying to build out specific use cases that would, one, make sense for Liquid Agent, but also complements Liquid, the token, in such a way that it definitely sustains long term, along with aligning it with potential partners and partners like SoonPay that we have. I know last week, there are a lot of people that were disappointed, and I will say um, it definitely didn't make me feel good, of course, because I'm here to build fantastic products, and I know at the end of the day, like hell, uh, someone said it best, like hell. They talk crap about Steve Jobs. They talk crap about like Apple products, and the biggest products is always going to be critics. But I think one of the biggest things is just that transparency piece. Just making sure that we stay on par with making sure that the people that are invested in Liquid and invested in what we're doing, they stay up to par with what we're doing. And that's the reason why I had a discussion with with Van, to really just change some things up when it comes to that, because time and time again, you hear of like different crypto and blockchain products that they do end up failing because of overall trust. And we definitely do not want that to happen, knowing that we've came so far in building what we're building. So with that being said, um, we'll do whatever it takes to, of course, like keep building and keep going. Um, certain things that we've changed up, we have to change up to, as far as like even um, KOLs and like the marketing and stuff like that, because we just can't have what happened happen again, of course.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. Well, again, thank you guys for joining today's Spaces number 6. We will definitely have a alpha debrief for you guys, talking about everything that we talk about through business development and LVN and our partnership. I just want to say thank each and every one of you guys in the community for supporting us, believing in our vision. We're still here. We're still going to be here. We're still going to cook. We love what we do. And yeah, let's stay liquid. Guys, have a good one.
Yep. Peace.